Morning becomes eclectic at 89.9 KCRW. It's a set in studio this morning from Greg Dooley's band, the Twilight Singers. Thanks to Mark Lanegan on vocals on the last track. You know, before we get back to another set, let's talk a little bit about Blackberry Belle, which is the new record. But I guess before we get to that record, we have to sort of go back a little bit to the beginning of the Twilight Singers, and maybe you can take us through that. I know that the Afghan Wigs wrapped up, what, about 4 or 5 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, about 4 years ago.
Yeah, and you were actually had started work on a solo project before the Wigs wrapped up, hadn't you?
I did it. I started the Twilight record while the rest of the guys in the Wigs had families, and I was kind of the renegade guy who no one would have a family with. So I made records instead. I started working on the first Twilight record. Then we signed to Columbia. They didn't want to confuse people, so I made a Wigs record, and then went back to the Twilight record, which I went over to England and did worked with a group called Fila Brasilia, and we sort of did a trip hop version of that record. And then when I started to get the Wigs back together, it just we were kind of we always said when it wasn't fun anymore we'd stop, so we stopped, and it was time to make another Twilight record. So
now that first my voice is sounding a little weird here. I don't know if somebody can help out on that. Maybe it's just in my headphones. Is it in your headphones as well?
You have an English accent all of a sudden. Strange.
Considering I come from the Bronx, I don't know how I put it on.
You're not the person I met earlier, I'll tell you that much.
But you know, the first album was Twilight as played by the Twilight Singers. Pretty different from this new one. Tell us a little bit about how you set out to make, or maybe write the songs. I guess let's talk about the songs that are on the new record first.
This record, the last record, I wanted to make something separate from the Wigs. This time I didn't have the Wigs to go back to, so I wanted to incorporate the two styles. I like to rock. I like to be fooled around with atmosphere and ambient textures, so it was a chance for me to mix the two styles, and I think I did so successfully.
Now I know that you're living in LA again these days, and you sat down and wrote about 30 songs before you even started recording.
50.
Right? 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that process for you. I mean, did you just sit down and just were you ready, or did these songs just come pouring out of you?
I didn't write any songs for a couple years, and then I wrote like 50 songs out of nowhere, and I continue to write. Mark, who was just here, he and I have been writing together. We're going to put a record out hopefully in the fall called The Gutter Twins, and I've written more songs in the last 3 years than I have my entire life. Because in the Wigs, I would just kind of write, like, you know, we needed 11 songs for the record. I would write 11 songs and then stop and go get drunk.
Well, what's happening now?
I write 50 and get drunk.
So obviously you got the band together. You're out doing the tours again as well, and as you say, you like to rock. I mean, are you having a good time doing this?
I'm having a gret time. I think I'm having a great time because I have a great group of traveling musicians. It wouldn't be as fun without the fellas that I'm doing this with now.
So what's up for this year? The record came out in the fall. I know it's on a smaller label. It's doing pretty well though, and you're getting a little bit of airplay at some of the cooler radio stations around the country. Are you just going to tour this year? What's the plan?
We're going to play. We're going to do one more suite. We just got back from Europe. We did like 25 shows in Europe, and we're going to come back and do 17 shows in America. And then Mark and I are going to finish working on our record, and then I'm going to start another Twilight record.
So April 14th is when you bring the band back to LA for a show at the Troubadour. At the end of our program today, we'll give away some tickets for that, and we'll also give away some copies of the album to our subscribers. But I know you got another set of music. I'm going to throw it back to you and see if we can squeeze in that special song at the end as well you were talking about.
You got it.
All right, man. Twilight Singers on Morning Becomes Eclectic.